Well, hello there, troopers, and welcome back to General Economics Bunker. Thank you so much for joining me here on another fine episode of The High Ground. I hope that your Wednesday night is going amazing. But to join me here up on the stage, as usual, my partner in crime, we got Mike from the Dad Vader. What is going on, brother?
Hell
Welcome, welcome.
switcheroo right there again.
There you
AI
go.
still ain't
Yeah,
figured this out yet.
yeah. I don't know what's going on, but One day, one day I'm gonna hit the button and it's gonna work the first time, and that day I will be happy. Thanks again to everybody here joining us on this Wednesday night. Hoping that your middle of the week is going great. Hoping that you're getting things done, uh, goals met, and if not, hey, the weekend is just around the corner, right? So just hold on tight a little bit longer. We got one more day, and then it's pretty much to the weekend. So thank you so much for joining us. So how's your week?
It's been going pretty quick. I don't know
Right?
if it's the just the way things happen when you get closer to holidays, things just speed
Yeah,
up on you. But I mean, and not just holidays. We got some major events coming up. I know you're going to be one busy
dude.
man, so I
No
mean,
kidding.
time is short. We got to enjoy this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I took it upon myself to finally, put in my vacation days and all that stuff for next week already. I did finally get my flights. I know I waited way too. I was cutting it down, close. But man, they were a lot more expensive than I had hoped. Um,
Uh,
they were almost twice as
Procrastination
much.
didn't
Yeah, not this time. Not this time.
not this time.
The um, the flights were almost twice as much as what I paid for Chicago, which I thought was kind of nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I guess there's first of all, there's not many direct flights from here, right, from San Antonio to Nashville, and then there's Southwest. So I was like, all right, Southwest. That's usually on the cheaper side. Not so much. I did, however, ultimately end up going with them just because they were more expensive than the runner up, but with Southwest you kind of get that those two checked in uh, luggage for free,
Yep.
uh, and it was a direct flight to and from, as opposed to the a cheaper option, which was obviously had a layover each time. So I was like, all
Yeah.
right, it kind of balances out with time and convenience, right? So yeah. Um, Unfortunately, though, that gives me an excuse to take a couple of empty suitcases out there and
I was about to
return.
ask, is that the reasoning behind that is just in case you see some stuff you got to grab, you got
It
the
is
suitcase
now.
ready to roll. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
pretty much. So I think I'm literally on the way on the way there. I think I'm gonna pack a suitcase within a suitcase. I don't know if you ever done that. Um,
Oh yeah.
just to not carry two empty suitcases, right, like through the airport, and then probably just a small carry on for my actual clothes. And we'll see, man. We'll see. If I can um, behave, be good, for 4 days, which I don't think I can. Then hopefully we won't be back, with both of them full. Maybe just one full. I think one full is a good compromise. Um,
I mean, depends on what you're grabbing. If you're grabbing some big
Dude,
figs, or if you're grabbing retro, like it all depends on what you're bringing. And I know they're gonna have everything there, so
oh
good
my
luck to
lord.
your wallet.
Yeah, seriously, dude. One of the most impressive things I saw last year there was a graded, sealed, right? OG Millennium Falcon, right? From what was that, 8081? Um, Impeccable, right? I mean, I think it was graded like an 80, 85. So the box was perfect. And it's a big box, right? But just imagine all of that encased in acrylic, right? Like sealed in acrylic
Oh yeah.
because it was graded. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous piece. Um,
What was
20K
the
though.
what was the grading on it?
I think it was, I forget if it was 80, maybe 85. It was pretty high up there, especially for something
Wow,
in a
that's pretty
box,
good.
like I said. Yeah, like I mean, boxes crease like just by looking at them. So
Mm,
this one was clean. Um, but yeah, it was a pretty penny. It was yeah, it was expensive. So ultimately I had to pass on it. I was like, hey, I'll give you, $300. That's my best offer. And he couldn't stop laughing. So yeah, but who knows? We our friends did get some pretty good stuff. Joe legendarily got the Haslav Razor Crest, right? Still in the shipper box. So that was a big box. Luckily, he actually drove there, so that's why he was confident.
Okay.
So
He had the trunk space ready to go.
absolutely. And then another buddy of ours ended up picking up the the Legacy Millennium Falcon. The biggest one, pretty much Hasbro has ever done. Kind of the best one, I think, when it comes to the molding and the details. So he picked up that one in box, and from the same store or guy, he actually got the ATTE, the Walker from the Clone Wars,
Mhm.
in box also, not sealed. That one was how do you call it, open and I think displayed, but it was complete. So he literally walked out with two like gigantic boxes, dude. He got an insane deal on combining those two. um so yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff that we're gonna see out there. I already know I want all of it, but we're gonna try to behave, because yeah, it's 4 days first of all, so I'm trying not to go crazy from day one. um but who knows, man, that Sunday, that's when deals happen. So
Yep.
I might try to hold out as best I can till that day, see if we can make some magic happen. But yeah, like I said, I'm trying to behave, but I don't know. The only thing that sucks is that on the way back, I actually get back here pretty late. I land like at 1:30 in the morning. Um, on Monday, I guess technically Monday morning. So yeah, gotta be at work in like, you know 5 hours after that. So that's gonna be interesting. But hey, we do it all for the fun, right? We do it for the fandom. So it's gonna be a good trip. I think we're definitely gonna get to hang out with a lot of our peers, here from YouTube. Some of which I've never met in person, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, man, October is gearing up to be pretty crazy. Um, we got you and I both got Big Techs coming up as well, which is the weekend
Yep.
after that. Which I'll be honest with you, man, I don't know if I can swing going there all weekend. I think for sure one day, maybe 2 days, maybe a quick pop in on Friday or Saturday, and then maybe Sunday a full day. We'll see. Because yeah, it's literally not even a week from ICCC, so it's a struggle.
Little time to rest there. I know for myself, Saturday I'm gonna be strapped up in the Megatron, so I'm gonna be pretty tired come the end of that day. Um, and so Sunday, yeah, Sunday, if I can just have a wheelchair and just be wheeled around, that'd be great.
Hey, I hear you, dude. That's definitely gonna be me, and that's because probably won't even do it that much on Saturday. But um, great show. I think they got a pretty good lineup, so looking forward to that one. Um, I think I'm gonna go for Ashley Eckstein. I've never officially, like met her or taken a picture with her, so I might go for that. I still haven't decided, if I'm being honest. So for Star
Did
Wars,
you
it's
see
kind of
that she
like
extended? She
she did
extended
extend,
to
yeah,
three
for all,
days now.
all
So
3 days, yeah,
yep.
which is good. If I can swing being there on Friday, Friday is usually the most chill day. Um, who knows? Maybe we can even talk to her, right? And I mean, like on camera. Um, because that's kind of how I did it last year with Tate Fletcher and Emily Swallow from Mandalorian, both of them. So Paz Vizsla and the Armorer. Friday was very chill. Well, it was very chill for Tate. The Armorer kind of had a line pretty much steady. Nothing too crazy, but it was one or two people pretty much at all times. She was awesome though, so she's like, yeah, just hang out a little bit, and once we get a little lull, let's talk, and that's how we landed our interview. Um, so yeah, if I can swing that, for this time around, because we got Matt Lanner who plays Anakin's voice, right, in Clone Wars, and then we got Ashley Eckstein who plays Ahsoka, right? So it'll be pretty cool. It's a little bit light this year with Star Wars, right? With Star Wars
Yep.
guests. Uh, but man, I think
Then
I've
went
said it
Cobra
here.
Kai.
Yeah, no, Cobra Kai is. If you're a Cobra Kai fans, like guys, you need to get out here to the show. It's a good one for sure. Um, but oddly enough, maybe not oddly, just maybe just because it's not like related to space sci-fi. Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman is actually top of
Yep.
my list for that show. I really, really want to meet him. Um, I'm so
He's played some great characters. I mean,
oh,
obviously for me, Hellboy
awesome.
is like one of the top up there. But
Agreed.
even his role in Blade, uh,
Yes,
I really like that one. A lot of
dude.
people weren't too particularly fond of that film, but I thought
Oh,
it was pretty awesome.
I love it. I absolutely love that film. And his character always stood out, right? And he wasn't meant to, um, he wasn't really meant to be one of those like sort of steal the spotlight, right? But he was, man. I don't know. I agree. He's got just this presence, in any character really that he plays. He was actually in Pacific Rim. I was remembering this too, and he's not nobody major. He's that guy that sort of deals with like the remains of the kaiju, who sells them in the black market.
Yeah.
Um, so he's all decked out, he's got like the shiny teeth and everything. Um, and I'm like, dude, it's not even, meant to be like a memorable character, but he just pulls it off like always. So yeah, I'm actually pretty excited
Uh,
to meet
on
him.
on Instagram, our buddy Explorer the Force
Hey,
uh,
what's going on?
put out their Sons of Anarchy Clay Morrow.
Yeah,
Um, kind of forgot that he was in that.
true.
But I mean, it's been a while since I watched that show. But yeah, definitely a big character there.
I'll be
But
honest
yeah,
with
that
you,
dude's
I
got an
only saw
incredible
maybe like
list of films.
2 or 3 episodes of that. I never fully went in. But I know it's a very successful show, and yeah, for sure he was a big part of it.
Yeah, man, I can't remember we watched all of it, but we binge watched it.
Nice.
But it's been some time. But yeah, the
Yeah.
whole thing was a great series. The way it ended was pretty unique. No spoilers
Nice.
here,
Yeah. Yeah.
just in case you haven't seen it. Uh, but they all become bakers. It's really interesting.
Yeah. It's a plot twist, it's kind of like an M. Night Shyamalan, kind of
It
plot twist
rolls
right
into the
there.
cake boss, but it's a little more violent.
Right. But we've been rambling on for looks 15 minutes already. That's crazy. But let's jump right into the chat, and we appreciate you, Bunker Bunch, for always hanging out with us here. So we got first and foremost pulling double duty. We got Dad Vader saying Bunker Pals, let's go. We got Ultra Carcilas here. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. We got Chris from the Man Collect saying Bunker Bunch, what's up? What's going on, man? Appreciate you joining. Thank you. Ultracar saying hi to Man Collects. Jeff from Star Wars Addict saying Bunker Bunch, hello there. What's going on, man? So, um, Jeff, Jeff finally got his helmet. That was a giveaway from us. You know what? We're not even gonna go there. It was a long time ago. I don't even want to put a number of how many months it was. Yes, months plural. Shut up. He got it. We're all good. All right, moving on. Ultra Carter saying hi to Jeff. Jeff saying, have a blast. Make sure you tell Elijah Pooh Bear Flex hello down there. That is a lot of stuff to remember. Ultra Carcilla says, Jeff Blackstar9 saying, hello there, General. What's going on, Pablo? Thank you so much for joining, man. Appreciate you. Ultra Carter saying hi to Pablo. Hey, we got Tony in the house. See you in a few days. I haven't forgotten, Tony. I already packed your batch. It's literally in my backpack right now. So if I forgot it, I forgot all of my video equipment. So just letting you know, I haven't forgotten. Tony was, magnanimous enough to lend me his badge for Fan Expo Chicago. We were hanging out there. He had to leave early on Sunday. So I had the awesome privilege of being VIP for the rest of Sunday. So that was quite the experience. I was like, dude, is this how the 1% lives? Like, dang, Tony,
Such
like
a
this.
honorable man for him to
Oh, dude.
grace you, the peasant, with his
Yeah, I was gonna
magnificent
say
badge.
he's basically like
Appreciate it.
the Caesar, of old, very 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 magnanimous. Again, very very giving. So, but he wants it back. So, he collects them, right? Like he keeps
Collects
them.
them,
So,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I literally I remember like a week ago, and I've been sort of slowly putting together the backpack because I hate it when I get to a con and I'm like, where is that one little connector or that one little cable that I needed for the mics or whatever it is, right? And I'm like, I didn't bring it. I did not bring, the one thing I needed. So I've been slowly but surely trickling in, stuff to the backpack. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw in the batch and forget about it for now because it's in there. Pablo asking, what show is this? So this is Big Texas Comic Con, happening here in San Antonio, October 11, 12, and 13. Right? Is that right?
I believe so.
Yes, 11. Yeah, 11, 12, and 13. So second weekend of October. Um, we'll flash the roster here in a little bit. Because it's again, we think it's going to be a great show. Last year was pretty good. I had a lot of fun. It was my first time actually being at Big Tex, um, but it was a really good experience. Like I said, we got to hang out with a couple of Mandalorians. I got to meet James. Oh my lord, almost I blanked out on his name. So that was great. And this year, actually, let me just show here very quickly since we were kind of talking about it. Um,
It's a pretty decent show,
yeah, so
but
here
they
we go.
definitely went on the Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we got a couple other rings. I'm really thinking about this photo op too, man. Especially since Lord of the Rings is getting it's getting to be pretty hot again. Um,
It's coming back in the
so
circle.
yeah, oh absolutely. I mean, we got a new movie in December, which I didn't realize it was already this year. War of the Rohirrim, right? The animated one, which I really really hope it does well because I want more of that. Transformers apparently didn't quite cut it, and maybe if we have time, we'll talk about that tonight. Uh,
Yeah.
but I was kind of hopeful because I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. But it seems that mm, I don't know if they didn't do a really good job marketing or what, but people just didn't turn up for it. So for all you wrestling fans, we got Sting, and he was updated to be Sunday only, by the way. Um, so yeah, here we go. We got Here we go. So this basically sums up who from Cobra Kai is going to be there at the show. So it's pretty stacked, all right, especially again for Cobra Kai fans this year. If you're in or around the San Antonio area, I think it's worth the drive. If you can make it, it's going to be a good show. So it is October 11th to the 13th. It's basically this is at the Henry B, which is mm, you could say downtown, right? So if you're from outside the city, you get to hang out downtown. There's the Riverwalk is right there. All of that cool stuff. The Alamo's not that far from there, so there's plenty of stuff to do like around the area if you decide to come in for the show. Um, and then we were basically talking about where is he? Right here. Like I said, strangely, I don't know if I should say strangely. It's just this is my number one for this show. Like I said, I'm actually this is the one I'm more excited about for some reason. Meeting Ron Perlman. I've loved him in pretty much everything he's done, and we kind of talked about it here, right? Especially Hellboy, man. Hellboy is a treasure. Those movies were ahead of its time. I kind of wish he would have gotten to do a third one, right, and sort of like closed up
Yep.
the trilogy. He deserved it for sure. I think Guillermo del Toro also deserved to sort of wrap up his story, right? Um, but you know how it is, right? Especially back then in the early like 2000s, things were not as successful with superhero movies as they got to be later on, of course. So it's one of those things that I'm like, I feel if that movie would have come out like maybe 5 years later, like around there, it would have been insane hit, right? Sort of riding the curve up of the comic book properties, in theaters. But regardless, I love one and two. I think I watched two more. The Golden Army. I think I've watched that one more than the first one.
Yeah.
But that scene when they get drunk, the Abe Sapien, the blue guy,
Oh, you,
and
mhm.
Hellboy, dude, that is chef's kiss. I love that scene so much. But yeah, so Ron Perlman's going to be here. Very excited about that. Plenty of other names, as you can see. So it's a good show. If you're in town or close to San Antonio, I think I think both of us here can recommend that this show would be a really good opportunity to meet some of these guests. And the show itself is big. There's plenty of vendors, plenty of activities going on. So think about it.
Henry B is
Big.
a big spot too, so it's
Yes.
spaced out normally pretty good. So
Yes.
um,
Very true.
don't worry
Very
about
true.
shoulder to shoulder crowds. I know that's kind of a complaint that's happened a couple of times with the
Agreed.
the other con, which now is going to be Space Con. So I imagine that one is going
Yeah.
to be pretty packed. The floor for the guests seems to be more open than the vendor side.
Yes.
I do really like Henry B the way they space things out, so it
I
should be a
agree.
good show. But yeah, if you're in the area, man, swing by. Go see Ron because he's not getting any younger,
Yeah.
and what an artist.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Yeah, actually, you know what? You bring up a great point. I did notice that again last year, last October was my first time going, and you're absolutely right. It was super comfortable to walk around, plenty of space between the areas, between the aisles, between the vendors and the artists. So you're right. It hadn't really clicked, but you're absolutely right. They do a great job at the layout. They use the second floor, right, space for some of their panels and stuff, so that also frees up the big main area down at the
Yep.
bottom. So again, make sure to check it out. It's pretty cool for Star Wars fans. We are gonna have I was trying to see the update. I thought they had posted it here, but maybe not. Oh, you know what, it's in here. Here we go. Ashley
All 3 days.
extended all 3 days, so you get to hang out with the voice of Ahsoka. And then we did have a cancellation form. Yeah, so Garrett Helen will not be joining, right? Yeah. So
He had a filming
yeah, it seems
conflict,
like he had a
so
filming conflict, so
yeah.
he's gonna have to pass on this one. But oh, and Sting, in case wrestling fans, he's gonna be here Sunday only. So keep that in mind. If you're gonna buy your tickets. Okay, so that's the show. Let me keep going here in the chat. Ultra Carter saying hi to Tony. Tony saying hi to Ultra. Marta, what's going on? Thanks so much for joining. Luis, same thing. Rolando in the house. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you joining, man. So for the record, Rolando also got his figure from a long time ago. Okay, so um, I do make good on the giveaways, even if it takes me a little bit. All right, to ship out.
We didn't
They
say
got him
when you're gonna get it. You're
exactly. I
just
said,
gonna get it.
yeah, I said you won. I didn't say when you get to enjoy it. All right. So Jeff saying, I think it was last week's giveaway. Thanks, man. Exactly, that's what it was, Jeff. And you're a trooper. Appreciate you. Hey, look who it is. Pooh Bear in the house. Flex, Star Wars 77, Elijah. So I missed this joke, but I kind of pieced it together. So Sunday, Flex, who is part of the Rogue 5 Cantina, right? Um, announced that he's also going to ICC. We all know that. But he finally announced that him and I are going to be rooming together. So we're going to be, slumber party buddies. However, he revealed a very critical, very, I would say tactically important detail in which he confessed he cannot sleep with bottoms on. So he says he likes to go, Winnie the Pooh style. And as you can imagine, hilarity ensued from there. So I joined like 10 minutes later after he said that. I come onto the chat, I'm saying hi, and everybody's calling me, like what's his name? Robinson, Chris Robinson, and like Ior and Piglet. And I was like, I find it offensive, but I don't know why. So they're like, just go back into the chat. And so again, kind of pieced it together. So so yeah, we're gonna be playing, Tummy Wars in the room, and it's gonna be fun. It's so yeah, can't wait, bro. So in a week, pretty much, next Thursday, we'll be out there. So good to see you, Flex. Appreciate you joining. Rolando, good to see you, buddy. Says Ultra Carter. We got Johnny Be Good. Hey, what it do, boys? Big John in the house, bro. I can't wait to see you, man. Are you gonna be? You said you're gonna be at SpaceCon, right?
SpaceCon,
And
I think you said for sure.
are you gonna be at Big Techs also? Let us know because we'll definitely stop by and shout you out. Elme, I forgot about that badge. Hey, I'm a man of my word. All right, you were kind enough, magnanimous enough, to let me experience just an inkling of how it is to be you for a few hours on Sundays. So I appreciate that. So I got it. It's in my bag. Don't worry about it. Rolando basically saying hi to everybody here in the chat. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Flag saying hi to Rolando and to Tony. Pablo saying hi to Rolando. Elijah saying hi to Jeff. Johnny Big Good saying Big Tex looks great. Yeah, let us know if you're gonna be there. Black Star says Elijah. Excuse me. Rolando saying hi to Luis. Millennium Workshop in the house. Good evening, everyone. What's going on, Rex? Guys, okay, do yourself a favor. I haven't finished it, Rex. I'm not gonna lie, but you need to go to Millennium Workshop's YouTube channel. He had an awesome interview with the gentleman who created um, the helmet. Sorry, I'm blanking out tonight. The helmet for the Stranger of the Acolyte. Say what you will about the show, okay? Save it, but that helmet is cool. All right, that helmet was different, and it's got a unique, look to it. So Rex actually got to sit down with him and kind of, go through, pick his brain about how he got started, prop making, what it is about 3D printing, how to get started, like a bunch of stuff. So you definitely need to go and check that out over here on YouTube, Millennium Workshop. The name is right there on the screen. So check out that interview. It's pretty good. Rolando saying hi to Rex. Rex saying hi to Rolando and to Flex. Hey, we've got Archer in the house. General Kenobi. Hello there, brother. What's going on, man? Thank you so much for joining. Rolando saying hi to Archer. Ultracar saying hi to Millennium and Archer. Johnny B says like, if it all exploded. Space Gun is where it's at for the wards. Yeah, 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 absolutely, man. Archer saying Rolando is back at it on Instagram. So happy, dude. Yes, right. So congrats on that. I saw you posted also some of your hunt. Ultra says Archer. Laughing says Rolando. Rex and Flex. I kind of like that. Rex and Flex. That's a show I would watch. Says Archer. Sid.
Yeah,
What up, Flex? Says Tony. Rolando. Saying Spoonfest. Yeah, there you go. I kind of like that too. What up, Rolando? Says Tony. No pants Flex. There you go. I like it. Archer says, "Did you book your flight yet?" Yes, I did. I talked about it a little while ago. Finally did it Monday morning because Sunday night, as actually that's what I was doing. As I was watching the Royal Five Cantina, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I just gotta book my flights. It is what it is. I go in and the dang website is down. Like I keep trying. I'm like, dude, I've been trying for like 2 months, just checking prices and stuff. And when I'm like, that's it. I'm hitting buy tonight. Couldn't do it. So I had to wait till Monday morning. That's when I bought my tickets. Again, a lot more expensive than I had hoped, but it's fine. I used some of my points, and it wasn't as bad. But at least they're direct flights, so that's very convenient.
that
Elijah
helps.
saying had a nerd affiliated. Rex saying it was so amazing to talk to Nick. Yeah, dude, you did an awesome job, man. So I I hope that you keep that series going. To be honest, Archer says my bad, Rex. I haven't listened yet. It's in my queue. No, man, it's good. It's all good, bro. Absolutely. All right. So,
Hey,
yeah,
real quick before we jump onto some other stuff,
for sure.
keeping up with current news, there is a storm, I believe, that entered the Gulf, and I think its track
You know what?
is to curl upward. And I don't know projected landfalls or anything, like that, but with people traveling next week, if that storm is still somewhat in the area or causing havoc, make sure you keep that in mind for your plans and always stay safe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I saw something about maybe Florida being kind of in the path.
I think it was like the panhandle of Florida, and if it
Okay.
does follow that track, it could roll up, and obviously Nashville would be getting some
Yeah.
rain. Don't know if like again, I don't know when it's supposed to land, but it could cause some issues for flights if it's that far out. But if it's already entered the Gulf, I imagine it's now maybe 2-3 days away from
Yeah.
landfall, maybe even sooner. So just keep
Yeah.
that in
True.
mind. And if you're in the path of the storm, be safe, be smart.
Absolutely. Take care of yourself, guys, and yeah, definitely. Uh, you know, stuck up on instant ramen and batteries. I don't know,
Yes,
wherever the
that's all you need to survive.
well, yeah, exactly. Canned beans. It's always a good. But yeah, guys, stay safe out there. Hopefully, it's not in anybody's path really, but if it is, like Mike is saying, just make smart choices. If you gotta leave, hey, you gotta leave, right? Um, but I'm sure Florida peeps are no strangers to storms. I'm just hoping it doesn't get too bad out there. Ultra Carter says, all right, guys, I have to leave now to get ready for work tomorrow. Maybe the reason is due hurricane. That's it. Yeah, since I live in Florida, anyone in Florida, stay safe. There you go. Exactly what we're talking about. All right, so yeah, Florida peeps, stay safe. Absolutely. Ultra Carter, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for joining us here. Get some rest and definitely stay safe out there. Man collects says stay safe. Ultra, absolutely. Jeff is saying all the ramen except for shrimp, gross. Dude, they're like shrimp fetus, they're like super tiny. Not even sure they're actually shrimp, to be honest with you. But anyway, um, so we got some news. We got some news that I kind of want to cover for tonight. Um, what do you say we jump into sort of the main topic, right? I kind of want to.
Did you want to touch on some ode news from last week? Just briefly
You know
touch on
what?
that.
You are absolutely right, because so last week, by the way, so if you guys haven't watched it, we had an awesome show with a great guest, TJ from Drop It Like It's Hot. Amazing cosplayer. She basically is a Saj Ventress. Um, it's almost like they based the character on her, which they didn't. I'm just saying, she just fits like the aesthetic so well. So definitely check out that episode if you haven't. Great guest, great stories. Um, a true nerd, a true fan of Star Wars for years and years now. Um, and definitely check out her Instagram. Drop it like it's Hoth. Okay, Hoth as in the planet. Um, she's got, what is it, 3, 4 Asajj Ventress by now, so different versions, and
I think she said 4, and she's working on the
she's
fifth
working
one
on,
from
yeah,
Bad
fifth one,
Batch.
right, from Bad Batch, right, and she's got recently debuted a Mandalorian, right, armor, kind of based on the look of the Night Sisters, right? So with the red and black, it looks great, all right? So she does almost everything for her cosplays. So she does a ton of work for them. So make sure to check her out. But basically, we took up the time for the show with her, and we didn't get to talk about one of my favorite people involved in Star Wars, right? Spoiler alert, maybe you don't know that because of the name of the channel, but I'm a big fan of Ewan McGregor, who finally got his star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I know that everybody here has seen this probably by now, but I can't have a channel called General Kenobi's Bunker, right? If and not talk about the actual Obi-Wan Kenobi. Um, very proud of him, very, very cool. I think it's totally deserving. Um, I loved how Hayden and him have this bromance going on, for years now. I absolutely love when they're just hanging out, um, because they might be great actors and just fooling everybody, but to me, it kind of looks legit, right? It kind of looks like they are having fun uh, together. Excuse me. So Hayden turned up, of course, for the celebration and the reveal of the star, and he gave a nice speech, basically saying, one of the best friends anybody could have. And then, even though he cut my legs, right? He mentioned something like that, like during
Yeah.
his speech, which was hilarious. So congrats, of course. General Hera Syndulla was in presence as well. In case you don't know, right? They are married, Obi-Wan and Hera, and his kid, I think most of his kids were present at the time, including that new one, a little one. So congrats to Ewan McGregor. In my opinion, very, very well deserved. uh if nothing else, he's a great actor. I think he's perfect for Obi-Wan. I think he has been perfect since the beginning. And only to have seen him progress, right, in both his craft and the character, it's it's almost like it's natural for him to just become Obi-Wan, right? Like There's
Yeah.
a big part of him into the character, I think now. Um, and if we think about it,
I
he
mean,
has played.
I was gonna say he's, and, a lot of people of the OG, old Ben, right? Well, he took that and brought it,
Oh
here I am as a Padawan. It pushed it all the way through to getting to the point where he's almost old Ben again, as we saw in the Obi-Wan series.
yeah,
He's starting to get a little weathered. He's a little old. He's getting beat up. He's gone through his trials and stuff. So, I
exactly.
mean, he's really taken a character that's established and really put his own little twist into it to where now you say Obi-Wan, that name, like
Oh,
that's the image I see as him,
absolutely.
right? So it's really awesome to see. And I think he does get a little overshadowed on some of his other work because Star
Right.
Wars is such a huge, uh it's huge, right? So you're not going to be able to completely step out of that light. But dude, an incredible actor. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Big Fish, but I loved him in
Yeah.
that.
Long time
I
ago though.
forget the one where it's The Shining, like part two. I forget what that one's called,
Oh, you know what?
but
I
another
started
great
watching
work.
that, and yeah, and I never finished it. But spooky season is upon us, so it might be a
Oh yeah,
good
good time
rewatch.
to wrap that one
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah. Train spotting, one and two for that matter.
Hmm.
I thought he did a great job. People, didn't care too much, of course, for two. Sequels are usually harder, right? And when one came out, it was something that we haven't really seen, right? In some ways. So two, of course, is sharing the DNA with one. So maybe that's why like the shock value wasn't there as much, right? 20, no, what was it? 20 some 30 years later, something like that. I forget, to be honest. Um, I enjoyed it. I think they still did a good job with it. Um, but you're absolutely right. He does, Obi-Wan, obviously one of the best known characters ever, right? In anything, let alone in movies. Um, and what I was going to say is this man has been portraying him for uh, officially 25 years, right? But
Yeah.
they started filming even before that, so I would say over 25 years. And he has very much owned the character quite a bit. It's been with him again for almost 3 decades. Um, and he kind of is Obi-Wan, in many ways. So very, very cool. I can't wait to see both of them down here in San Antonio in a month, actually, exactly in a month, October 25th on at SpaceCon. So I was thinking about it. I don't know if I told you, but I think I am gonna go for this picture right here. This photo op, because I'm like, I don't know when they're gonna be in town next time, and
Yeah.
if I don't have to travel for it, all the better. So I think I'm gonna go for it. Um, but yeah, so again, a little bit of old news, right? When it comes to this fast moving world, a week is old now. But
Old
we
news.
definitely, yeah, right. But we definitely wanted to touch on it again. General Kenobi, being in the name of everything I do, I kind of owe it to give a shout out to the actual General Kenobi, right? So very cool. Very happy that he's got his own star again. Very well deserved. It's kind of a weird process because it's not something they like give you automatically. Like you actually have to apply for it, and you have to pay for it like yourself and stuff like that. Um, Obviously they have to authorize it, right? It's not just like, oh, anybody can just pay the fee and have a star. But it's a weird one of those weird things. Like when I was growing up, I always thought it's like, oh, for sure, they have like nominees every year, and they're like, all right, who truly deserves a star. I'm like, all right, this guy, okay, let's give it to him. Not really. They get applications, right? They get every year a bunch of you know Hollywood artists apply and pay to get their star, and so they're kind of sorted out by, I don't know, by the Jedi Council. I don't know who does these things, and they get authorized to have their own star. So it's kind of a bit of a weird process, but nonetheless, congrats to my best friend
Yep.
Ewan. um and I hope many, many more successes. I hope we get to see him do Obi-Wan many more times. um there has been talk about something like Kenobi season 2, maybe a movie this time around. If you remember, the Kenobi project was born as a movie, um
Yep.
like 6 7 years ago by this point, and then it morphed into a miniseries, right? And very recently, just a couple months back, Ewan did say, "It's like, hey, I'm all for. I want more, right? Like, I want to keep going." So I think I think Disney needs to make it happen. Um, I, for one, really really enjoyed the Kenobi show. No, it wasn't perfect, but man, the acting like was on point. Like he's absolutely great in that one. So yeah, again, sort of just catching up with a little bit of old news. But speaking of catching up,
What
let me jump.
I
Yeah.
was I was gonna touch on that real quick. So like one of the biggest differences that I saw from like the sequels and the Obi-Wan was I really believed that Obi-Wan was just like I've hung it up. I'm not
Yes.
a Jedi anymore. I really believe that. And then Mark Hamill, when he's just like, nah, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel like that fit.
Agreed.
Like it wasn't, and obviously he's a great actor himself, but I didn't really feel that connection. But watching the Obi-Wan, I felt like, man, he's been through some tough times and I totally get it. I know why he's done. Like I really
Dude.
felt it.
Yeah.
So,
Like
I mean,
you're
that
right.
that was so like parallel, like two different streams of the same kind of character arc,
Right.
but one was just executed to perfection.
I totally agree, man. And he portrays, he looks tired, but not just physically. Yeah, like you can tell, like spiritually, mentally, right? Like he's tired, and he portrays that so well. And then my absolute favorite moment is when he reconnects in the force, right? Because he was like cut off. He reconnects in the force and he feels Darth Vader or Anakin, right? That face he makes of like amazement and then just like sheer terror. Oh my lord, like that is just, that's why he will always be Obi-Wan for me. Like that, if he wasn't already, which he was again, but that like 7 seconds, whatever that scene is, oh dude, that made the show for me. Like I was like, that is insane, like how much expression he has. And it's literally, the shot is literally the whole screen is his face, and you get everything through it. So love it. Again, we need more Obi-Wan with Ewan. um he's the right age for the stories. He wants to do it. Just let's make it happen, Disney. All right.
Get that man a lightsaber.
Yeah, absolutely. Where are we? Hey, we got Frankie in the house. Raging Mando, thank you for joining the stream, brother. Appreciate it. It's like, all right, let's see who's in here. The Bunker Bunch. Speaking of, we got Daniel from the Legacy of Nerd. Yo, who's ready for the Acolyte, the movie? Let's go, man. I already bought my tickets. Laughing, says Frankie. So speaking of movies, right? Um, and speaking of bumpy roads like the Acolyte, maybe not quite there yet, but we did get a little bit of news this week, right? And it seems that Ray's movie, whatever it's gonna be called at this point, um, is kind of back in the rumor mill, saying yet again it's kind of on hold, right? Again. So if you remember, even back in what was that, like April, Daisy Ridley herself said that she was going to read the script in May, right? May came about, came and went. June came about, sort of ending, and nobody heard anything, right? I think it wasn't until July or August, I forget, when she gave another update, right? Another interview, and she's like, "Yeah, no, I didn't get anything, right? I didn't get a call. I didn't, I got no script, no nothing." So that kind of led to the like, oh, the movie's canceled, right? And then they came out, saying, "No, hey, it's not canceled. We're still working on it. All is good." Now, month and a half later, whatever that is, we're kind of getting the rumors that it seems that it needs more work, right? That's kind of the verbiage being thrown out there. It needs more work, and by that, it probably means the story, right? The script. So Daisy, she's talked about still going, right? Even recently, saying that she wants to do it. She wants to revisit the character. That she feels she's more experienced, right? She's older, and she thinks that it's worth telling the story because uh, people have come to identify um, her or their Star Wars experience with Rey, right? Many young fans obviously have grown up since the sequel started. Which, by the way, Force Awakens is going to be 10 years old next week. Next week, sorry, next year, which is crazy to think, honestly. Like that, 10 years have already, or 9 years this year, 10 years next year have already gone by. Insane. Um, so young fans, right, from the prequels, they've kind of grown up, into young adults by this point. So she feels that it's kind of time to keep going with the story, right, with the character. But again, it seems that not a whole lot of progress has been done. um I don't know, man. What do you think? You think we're ever gonna
I
get it?
I don't know. I mean, there's some, and just taking a step back, right, and thinking of this as not just as a business, right? But you want to make sure that the Star Wars fandom is ready for it, right?
Yeah.
And then whatever you bring to the table, it's got to be a home run because you've already had some questionable stuff hit the market and it wasn't received very well. So I understand like the rewrites of a script maybe or even just the outline of the script is not coming together. We don't know where it's at in the process. But I mean obviously you've got tons of eyes looking at this. You've got big boss man Bob staring you down being like, I don't like this, fix it. Like you don't mess with the mouse money. So you
Yeah,
definitely
no
got to
kidding.
have some fire coming out of that pages. And if it's not there, it's not there. And honestly, I'll wait until it is there because I don't want a rush project just because it's a business
Yeah,
and we're trying to get more product out there, uh, which ultimately leads to more merchandise, which I'll buy it. But I mean, not everybody's chasing down the merchandise. We want quality product.
absolutely. I think, to be honest with you, I think they rushed the announcement. I think they
Yep.
rushed bringing her out, saying she's back. She's gonna get a movie in 2 years. Because this was what, 2 years ago or 3 years ago by this point, when when they first brought her on stage. Um, I think that part was rushed because as soon as you put that out there, right, the clock starts ticking, and it's not like people are gonna forget. She is a highly visible, right, actress and character, and so people are like, "Hey, man, I thought we were getting an actual movie like 2 months ago, right? What happened? You're telling me you don't even have a script?" So everybody's just questioning, right, what's going on, where is it going? Because everybody was sort of given a date, right, and then nobody actually held on to that date, right? Like it just came and went, it's gone now. So now we're kind of just playing the guess game, right? The last that I had heard was 2026, right, for this movie. um Mando and Grogu movie will come out May 2026. That one I'm a little bit more confident on because that one's already filming, right?
It's got a
um
script. It's in
it,
production.
exactly, right,
We
it's
even know
going.
a couple of people that might be tied to the project. Like
Oh yeah,
speculation, right? We're getting like, oh, I can't talk about this, but
exactly.
when you look on the board of like what's coming up, you're like,
Yeah,
I think I kind of know where you're going. But
absolutely.
again, once there's already production in filming, right? So then you're kind of pretty confident that you're going to get something, unless it's the Batgirl movie, which is
Yeah.
hidden forever with
Oh man.
the arc from Indiana Jones. Um,
Yeah, to one of
yeah,
those boxes.
yeah, I seriously doubt we're not going to get the Mando and Grogu movie. It's
Agreed.
coming, which is also kind of another, not necessarily a red flag, but an indication of, you know, where they may be uh, with this, trilogy that's supposed to happen is maybe they're focusing on making this one the knockout and then they're really going to work on this one later, but right now it's not priority. um and again, that one may be because where are the fans connected most at? Like the
Yeah.
Mandalorian has been a home run for the most part, so
Right.
I kind of see them catering to that more. And then maybe they don't have the right writers to work on the script right now and they're going to finish up this and then scoot over there. Like we'll just have to wait and see, but for the most part I think we're just in the guessing game.
Yeah, I think so too. And I've said it before, and I will reiterate here. I didn't really have a problem with Ray's character, right? As many people did. I had even less problems with Daisy Ridley herself as an actress, right? And she was pretty young,
Oh yeah.
in when she started filming. I don't really have a problem with that. Could they have done a better, handling of the story overall? I think so, right? But the character itself, yes, there are things that I didn't quite follow, but overall, we needed a new hero, right? So okay, well, this is it. I may not agree with the portrayal every single part of every single movie, but overall, I didn't really have an issue. Um, so I'm still all for this story being told, right? But like you said, it's gotta be a knockout. It's gotta be a home run.
Yep.
So if that means, hey, we're gonna take 2 more years, okay, that's I'm fine with it. But again, don't come out 2 years ago, right, and tell me we're on this, right? This is happening and it's gonna happen soon. When you don't really know, right? When you didn't really have all your
I'd
ducks
rather
in a
be
row.
left in the dark. Like, don't
Yeah,
tell me anything until like
exactly.
you've got the camera set up and you're like, all
Yes.
right, action.
Yep.
Then come out and say, hey, we're filming this. Like,
Yeah.
don't give me false hope on something, and don't stir up the pot, right? Because like
Yeah.
people that are tied to certain projects, some of their other work is not doing great, so then it trickles into this, and then
Right.
then you're put into that situation where you really have to have a home run, and that's
Yeah.
just a lot of pressure. I mean, I don't want to be that writer, like that's not a job for me. Somebody else take that.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Yeah, I do not envy those guys at all. Um, and to your point, there's also, I mean, Daisy Ridley, she's busy, she's doing stuff. So at some point, if nothing really materializes in, let's say, a year or two, she's probably gonna be like, you know what, guys, I've held out my breath for 4 years, nothing really happened, so I'm just gonna move on, right? They don't really have an obligation to just be waiting for that script to arrive, right? So I'm sure there's some sort of contract, right, that they got going on right now. But again, it cannot last forever, right? So at some point, it just has to happen, or she's gonna walk away from the project, right? How long that's gonna take, I don't know. I hope she's. It seems like she still wants to do it. She literally talked about it a few days ago, right? That she's still on board. But again, you can only hold up, for so much, right? For so long without
Well, I don't know. I
tangible.
mean, isn't the Disney contract signed in blood in your soul? So
Yeah,
she may be
probably,
tied to it forever. I mean,
probably,
we don't
and
know.
with the how do you call it? Your first unborn, has to
Yep.
co-sign also somehow. But yeah. So once again, the Daisy Ridley's Ray movie is kind of back on the rumor mill, saying it's being delayed. Actually, it's saying it's being put on hold. That's what I read. Being put on hold, which obviously means it's going to be delayed, right? Until when, we don't know. So it seems that Disney does have two Star Wars movie slots that they're holding on to. And let me get the dates here correct. Um, December 18, 2026, which would put it, in the same year as the Mando and Grogu movie, and December 17, 2027, which to me, at this point, that one kind of seems more feasible, right? Um, Up to today, right? Because I'll be honest with you guys, with the 2026 release, they would have to start shooting like, I don't know, December, like at the latest, to still kind of make it, because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of stuff that has to happen, right, in less than 2 years. But
And
yeah, so
that's assuming everything goes perfect. Like you may
yeah,
have
kidding.
a product, you do your testing, and it's like, oh, that didn't do well with the test audience. We need to reshoot. Like you're giving yourself the smallest window to hit your target,
Oh,
and if it's
dude,
not
yeah,
spot on, yeah, that's a big gamble. So yeah, I don't think those dates are you know realistic, especially when you're
yeah.
saying it's on hold right now. Like it's to me, those dates got to push.
And to be honest with you, the December 2026 date, whatever it is, because is kind of pushing it, right? Because right now Mando and Grogu are filming, And from best we've heard, that's it. Nothing else is filming right now, right? So if they're gonna wrap up that one first and then kickstart whatever next project is, that's already pushing it quite a bit. And that is assuming, like we said, assuming everything's good and assuming the next thing to film is a movie and not a TV show, right? Because we still got Ahsoka season 2, right? And Andor season 2 is wrapped up, but Ahsoka season 2 seems to be the next, sort of like, hey, let's get this going, right? We got to start filming. So yeah, that December 2026 project, right, whatever that movie is in my opinion running out of time pretty fast here. So I hope they got all the ducks in a row for whatever that project is, and they're literally just waiting to use the resources that Mandalorian and Grogu are using right now, right? That's the only kind of way I see this still working out with the timing. But speaking of Mandalorian and Grogu movie, there was another rumor recently here that it seems that John Favreau kind of wants to give fans what they wanted for the sequel trilogy, right? In the form of having the OGs back, right? Having Luke, Leia, and Han on screen, right? Yes, more than likely a CGI de-aged version, right? So sort of the classic look to them, and that being part of the Mandalorian movie. Now, how much, I'm sure they wouldn't be a grand part of the movie because honestly, it would just derail the whole thing, right? Like nobody would care about Mando when those three show up.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm thinking more of a cameo, right? Maybe 1 or 2 minute scene, right? And they're out. Uh, but but it seems that the the showstopper here, it seems to be Harrison Ford, who's again, this is all being reported as a rumor, right? Nothing has been confirmed, but it seems that he's not really on board with the plan. It seems like he doesn't really want to sign on. Um, Technically, they don't need him, right? They can have a stand-in, generate his likeness, but obviously for legal reasons he has to sign off, right? um and it's one of those things, right? The kind of sign of the times we live now, with AI and all of this sort of de-aging technology, et cetera, getting more and more refined. At what point, um, does a studio just be like, you know what, you signed a contract, right? We're extending that or adding a clause. You don't really get to stop us from using your likeness from when we had a contract back then, right? So we're not going to use you right now. So I don't need a new contract with you. So they start like sort of like
Yeah.
navigating, right? In order for them to be able to produce scenes like this, which otherwise would not be possible. As we know, Carrie passed. What is that? 8 years ago now? That's crazy. Yeah, 8 years ago now. And so it would fall onto her family, right, to make the decision. Mark Hamill, he kind of already did it, right, in Mandalorian. So I'd be fairly surprised if he says no, right? Again, he kind of already has done it. Um, so yeah, I, me personally, I would love to see this scene, right? It was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, missed opportunity of the sequel trilogy to have all three on screen again, right? Um, so
And I think here you just sprinkle it, just I mean,
yes,
even if it's like we had talked previously, like if it's just a hologram or something of just like, you know,
yes,
a quick transmission of like uh General Leia needs us to do this, or even with Han, like if he doesn't want to be in, like Harrison Ford don't want to be in it. Just some show his back with what he's wearing, right? Like just
Yeah.
kind of sprinkle it in there, and that's just enough to tease us to where we'll be happy. And like you said, it doesn't totally derail the project.
Yeah, absolutely. Because um, so obviously people are saying, "Oh, that's just fan service." I I agree up to a point, but I don't think that's necessarily bad either. If it fits
Look
the
at the
story,
Deadpool Wolverine. Look
yeah,
how they
exactly.
sprinkled in characters, and that's all fan service to us, and we ate it up
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So maybe a little bit of fan service is not a bad thing, right? Maybe that's kind of what we need right now, to get
when it's done right. Yeah, when it's
yeah,
done right,
obviously, right.
it's
And
tasty.
again, it's done right. It's the right period in the show, in the story, right, for the Mandalorian. So all three characters would definitely be around, would definitely be active, right? Whether it be in, I get my timings wrong, or my timeline a little bit wrong with the government stuff. I don't know if Leia would still be part of the New Republic, or she would be already kicked out. Somebody here in the chat probably knows more than I do on that, but it would be around that time, so she would definitely be active. Luke is obviously active. We've seen it in the show. Han would be very active, right? Just trying
Would
to.
we see a little Ben Solo running around?
That's exactly what I was gonna say, right? Imagine Han became, a stay-home dad, because the Leia is the breadwinner, right? She's the big time politician, so doesn't have time for the baby, right? So Han's got to step it up. So the characters would definitely be around. They would definitely be involved in big things, right, happening in the galaxy. So it makes sense. It makes sense that they would pop in for some reason, right, here and there during the story. Again, we know that Mando is now working with and for, if you want to look at it that way, the New Republic, right? So that
Yep.
that was the premise of the season finale for season three. Spoilers, sorry if you haven't seen it a year ago.
Oh man,
Um,
uh,
no,
just
was that?
popped in my head a perfect like scene that they could do with it is like little Ben and Harrison Ford, doing the finger, and then little Ben mocking him doing the finger,
Oh my
which like
lord!
carries over into Kylo eventually using that. Like that's a
Yeah,
mannerism that he learned from his childhood. Um,
dude, stop
I
making
mean,
better Star
Star
Wars
Wars
than what we're gonna get.
just
All right,
sign
stop
me
it.
up, guys. I'll write it. I'll do it.
Exactly. Yeah, dude. Imagine. Oh man, that would melt my heart right there and then.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the as we know, I think Mando overall is still the most beloved property of the new, under Disney, right? Especially of the
Only
new
second to
characters
the
that
Acolyte.
exactly, yeah. I mean, nobody can really hold a candle to the acolyte, right? But Mando is doing a good job of it. At least it's been longer, right, for him. So it makes sense that Fabro would try to be like, hey, you know what? Let's just double down and give everybody what they want. But yeah, there's definitely hurdles to be overcome, right, when trying to get this done. Um, Once again, this could be a whole debate. Me being selfish, I would love to see this scene. Like you said, it's got to be done right. It's got to be done, not overused, because again, we just kind of derail the whole thing, right? If we just have them all there all the time. But at the same time, the flip side of the coin is I absolutely understand the worry of a precedent, right, being set. Because if they do this successfully, it's like, all right, well, where do we draw the line, for next time? Can we make an episode, one episode that's like a flashback, on Mando, covering, what happened right after Return of the Jedi, right? Can we make
Yeah.
20 minutes with Luke and Leia training, like stuff like that? Like where do we sort of stop, right?
And we
Because
did kind of get those hints in the was it, I don't know if it was the Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett, where we had them in the woods uh training, correct?
Rise of Skywalker, the last movie.
Was it Rise of Skywalker that we had that? I'm
Yeah.
getting my stuff mixed up, but oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. So they have both the
But yeah,
lightsabers.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but
But
yeah, we've
that's
already gotten a sprinkle of that. Like, but
yeah.
like you're saying, like you can really. because like I was about to say, like with the Mandalorian, we had the faceless Jedi destroy all the
Hmm.
droids, and then at that last scene, that's when we got the reveal that it's Luke. Uh, and so we only got like a little sliver of
Right.
actual screen time of a face. Like, is that enough for us to be satisfied? Do we really need to go back to that well and keep tapping it? Because eventually it's going to run dry and it's going to
Oh yeah.
backfire.
That
So I don't know where that fine line is.
that is exactly right. Like, at what point does it become overused, right? And we're like, all right, man, you gotta let them go, right? We can't just keep
Yep.
going around in circles with the same. That's a very good point. But yeah, so we will definitely see, how this keeps going, and if anybody can pull it off at this point, I think it would be Fabro, right? I think he's got the keys to the kingdom right now. Him and Filoni, obviously. So
Yep.
we'll see if they are able to sort of pull this off. But on other news, we kind of got a little surprise drop from I guess from Disney, right? So we got an audiobook dropped called Padawan Pride, and first of all, I love this drawing here because if you notice, it's like halfway between episode one, Anakin, and episode two, right? Like his features, I think they did a really good job blending some of those features, into the illustration. Um,
Mhm.
so it's my understanding this covers a story that happens 3 years after episode one, Phantom Menace, right? Which would put it, what is that, like 6 or 7 years before episode two? And I'm kind of all for it because if you think about it, we don't really have much in that period. Um,
Yeah,
after
Clone Wars, he's already
no,
uh
Clone Wars is after episode two. Yeah.
yeah, so that's why I'm like he's already like we don't have anything that kind of bridges that gap. So kind
No.
of interesting though, like with the audiobook, I feel like
Yeah.
are they just kind of dipping their toe in the water to see how this does, and then maybe that spurs an animated or a live action from it? But definitely very interested in this story here because I mean, obviously they've gone on tons of missions prior to the
Exactly.
dealings of the Clone Wars, right? So like they've even joked around, I think, a few times when they're talking about like issues that have happened, and I've saved you this time, and it's like obviously he was a Padawan when that happened. So
Yes.
where's those stories? Let's get more of that.
Absolutely. And it is it's kind of weird. It's one of those things that you don't really notice until like somebody points it out. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like we have a 10-year period of time, right? Between episode one and two, where we got almost nothing going on, right? Or us, like we haven't seen much comic books, TV shows, animated. Yet the period of time from episode two to episode three, right? It's 3 years, and we got like everything out of it, right? We got 7 seasons of a show. We've gotten comic books, we got in books, right? We got in audiobooks, we got another show if you count Bad Batch, right? And that was 3 seasons. So it's like 10
Hmm.
seasons in total of a show set just in those like three episodes. No, I take that back. Sorry. Bad Batch is after. Um, they started a little bit before, right? Episode three, they go after.
Yeah, yeah.
So a little bit
Yep.
of
Well, it's still
crossover there, but
roughly the same time
right, sort of the
periods.
same
That's
era, right?
diving
So
into that one pot.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. And
but
so
there's a ton of stories right there that can
yeah,
tie to that. Like we didn't see how the clones, we know the story of how they came about, but we haven't seen anything.
right.
You could also spin into different directions with Django, like get his like story arc to where he met up to do the cloning stuff. So there's
Yep.
tons of stuff. Like maybe even their stories intertwined at one point. We don't realize it. Like,
Oh,
there could
absolutely.
be
Imagine.
tons of cool stuff that they can do with this. So I'm all for it. Audiobooks are great for me because I
Oh,
can't
dude, same,
read, so it's even
same.
better.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually thinking about this one, to be honest with you, just because, like I said, it's kind of a random drop, like not announced, just like, hey, boom, there's a new book, and we're like, whoa,
That
whoa, whoa.
came out of nowhere. I didn't even
Yeah,
know like until I saw it on somebody's post. So I was
Yeah.
like, where was this hiding?
Right, right. Where was this announcement? And so I'm kind of here for it. Like I said, I'm kind of gonna give kudos to I guess Disney overall for sort of still being able to keep things under wraps, right? And still be able to like surprise us. So um I haven't heard a review of this, but even if it's not that great, I still love that it exists. Again, we definitely need more stories, right, told in this time period. And yeah, I'm kind of here for it. I don't mind the random surprise drops here and there, right? Keeps us guessing. So I would love to see an animated, even if it's just a miniseries covering like five, missions that Obi-Wan and Anakin went on, right? And like you said, who's there in the background? Bunch of stuff is going
So
on in
many,
this period.
so many tie-ins. One that just popped in my head because I'm the Star Wars writer of the next generation here.
Yes, you are.
Uh, Qui-Gon finding himself in the Force, trying to figure out what he is, and then when he sees Anakin, like he's able to see stuff, and then out of his pure like love for the kid and like trying to protect him, he's able to reach out in certain aspects of the Force. Like
Yeah,
hasn't quite figured out how to talk yet, so
right.
like maybe he's kind of helping guiding him through the background. So like there's cool stuff that could be thrown at you from that angle. And if we can get Liam Neeson back to do that,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying, even better.
dude, with that voice, oh my lord, yeah, I'm ready. Just, I mean, he did it for Tales of the Jedi, right? Um, Along with his son, which I thought was genius, how they got his son to play young Qui Gon, right? A stroke of genius. So yeah, I'm all for that. Audiobooks are great, like you said. That's my go-to. When it comes to a book, if I have to digest it somehow, it definitely I go for audio. Especially some of these productions, they put quite a bit on it. They got special effects. They
Oh
got
yeah.
sometimes they'll do even like different voice actors, right? Like reading off several characters. Of course, they're not gonna do one actor per voice or per character. Sorry, but sometimes a couple of actors will cover pretty much all the voices right needed. Sometimes it's just one, right? Like acting their ass off, having like
Oh yeah.
freaking 10 different voices, which
I've
is
heard an
impressive.
audiobook was it was two voice actors, but like eight different characters at one point. And I didn't even know that
Yeah,
it was I thought there was eight different actors doing it, but it was really just two. So I was like, man, hats off to them because totally
absolutely.
believable.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, great production value on most of these audiobooks. So make sure to check it out, especially if you have an Audible um, subscription, right? So it should be available. If somebody here has already listened to it or is listening to it, let us know. I'm interested. I want to get a review out of this. See what you guys think. If you're liking this kind of project or not. And then so speaking of fun stuff, we got a little bit of hope here when it comes to our favorite Jedi in video games as of late, Cal Kestis. So, couple of things here. First of all, and I think we touched upon this briefly last week, but um, it is said that the next entry in the Jedi Survivor franchise will be the last, right? So, third game, it seems like it's gonna wrap up the story of Cal Kestis. I'm assuming up to a point. I don't know if they mean wrap up as in he's gone. Could be, but I don't fully see that happening. To be honest with you, he has become a beloved character. I think it's definitely grown on most fans, uh, thanks to two games, right? Both fairly successful, I would say, especially when it comes to nowadays, right? Games have a hard time being called successful. Um, Fun games, good story, and so we got a one
I think
more
that's
in the one.
what drove it a lot was the story. Like
Yes,
gameplay wasn't like, it becomes a little
yeah,
repetitive when it comes to the lightsaber
that's
stuff,
exactly
but
what I was gonna say.
the story was
Yes,
really good.
Yes, absolutely. I agree completely because the gameplay, I agree with you. It you know, it does become sort of the same motions, right? After a little while. But the story, I agree, that's what kept most of us playing. I haven't finished the second one, if I'm being honest, so I might need to get back to that before the third one comes out. I just wish I had more time. But so okay, so that's one part of the news, that it seems that first of all, yes, there's going to be a third game, right? They are, I think, starting to work on the development, but also that it will be the last of, of this storyline, let's say. So it's going to wrap up Cal Kestis. However, the other news that we got related to Cal is that it seems he's going to make his actual live action debut, right? Which again, it's one of those things that I'm like, the guy's here, right? He's an actor. He's acted in TV before, right? Like, why not? Why wouldn't you, use him? Um,
And not just
so,
acted, but successfully acted
oh
in some
yeah,
stuff. So
no, he's good.
fans love him. So again, you got the base of a character, like bring him into the front, like put him in there.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So what do we think it could be, right? There's no information as to what that live action project would be. Um, we just talked about for a little while about the Mando and Grogu movie, right? Which is kind of on its way. After that, we get what, Ahsoka season 2.
Hmm.
Um, maybe. I mean,
Ahsoka,
maybe.
maybe
Yeah,
like
maybe makes sense there.
a
My question
wandering
is,
Jedi.
yeah, my question is, in the timeline, right? Like, we've seen him in the period between episode, what is it, episode 3 and episode 4, right?
Yeah, so the first game is right when Order 66 hit.
Yeah,
Um, and then he makes it through that and becomes a scrapper where they're scrapping.
yeah.
So the fall
And that's
of
like 3 years
the
later, right? After Order 66, something like that.
yeah.
Hmm.
So
I don't know the timeline, to be honest with you, of the second game. Like, I don't know how many years
and
passed.
that's why I was trying to think and not try to spoil anything because there's a couple of scenes in there that bring some characters out that are known. Um,
Yeah, you're right.
so
Mm,
I think he could. I don't remember the timeline jump from the first game to the second one, but
yeah,
it
let's see
wouldn't
if I
be
can
too
find
far
it.
fetched uh, for him to be in the Ahsoka series.
Right,
Um, I don't. I mean, he might look a little young, but give him a more scruffy beard or something.
right.
Uh, that might work out. And I mean, I don't know. I don't see any other projects on the table that would lend to him coming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this here quickly says, um, Jedi Survivor is roughly 5 years after the events of Fallen Order. So about 9 years
Mm,
before the Battle of Yavin, right, which is episode 4. Um, hmm. What's
so
interesting What's interesting is that this is around the same year as the Kenobi show, right? Which was, I think, 10 or 9 years before episode 4. So that's quite the that's quite the lineup there.
What
Um,
about Andor?
yeah, Andor
What
would be
time period
around
is
there.
Andor?
Andor would be around there, but I think this season, because next season they're gonna jump a year, so they're gonna cover 4 years. No, you know what? You're right, because Andor, this first season was 5 years before Rogue One, right? Which is, let's call it episode 4, right? It's about the
Hmm.
same. Um, and so supposedly this first season covered one of those years, right? So now we're getting into year 4, and my understanding is that through season 2 they'll cover all 4 years every 3 episodes is 1 year, right? So 3 episodes, 3 episodes, 3 episodes, and the last episodes will lead up to Rogue One, basically. So yeah, maybe.
Maybe
Yeah,
there, but I'm also like, man, I don't. Andor to me was such a good like standalone without
agreed.
having a whole bunch of
Yeah,
Jedi and Sith Lords. Like, do we
right.
really want to drop one in there? And I mean, maybe it will work. I don't know, but
I don't know if they do it right, but it's a tall order because yeah, Andor is definitely a different sort of tale, right? Like you said, it's kind of what makes it wonderful, in my opinion. You kind of step away
yep.
from the super powerful, grand force users, right? And you're just moving on to people trying to be, trying to make a difference, trying to use their wits and their
Trying to
resources.
survive, yeah, trying
Exactly,
to
and
survive
just
in a
yeah,
crazy world, and
yeah, right.
it's a really
Still,
good storytelling. I really liked it.
oh, absolutely. I've actually been meaning to rewatch Andor season one, like binge watch it. Uh, there's just one of those things that I'm like, do I watch something that I've seen before, or do I try to pick up something new? So I only got so much time. It's
Yep.
just one of those things. Um, yeah, actually, that could work for Andor, but then again, that would mean this would already have to be shot already because season two is
Yeah.
is wrapped up, right? So not to say they couldn't insert something, right, like afterwards, obviously. Um, but yeah, it would be interesting. Um, I don't know if
Even a
he,
teaser at the end of the episode or end of the
yeah,
season, you throw him in there. Like he doesn't
could be,
necessarily have to be in the
yeah,
cast. It's just like
part of the story, right?
we got to find this guy to help us, and
Yeah,
it's
and
him.
it's him. Yeah, very true. So Big John saying like, give me Starkiller before you give me Cal Kestis. Oh, dude, that I find a lot more difficult, if I'm being honest. Um,
Yeah.
Starkiller is not canon anymore, right? Whereas Cal Kestis is, right, within the new storyline overall. So I would absolutely love to see Galen Merrick, in real life, Sam Witwer, duking it out with stormtroopers, right? Doing all kinds of force push and crazy force powers. But man, as much as I would love to see this, unless it's like a Tales of the Jedi type of situation, and they kind of wrap it up in that same sort of like mini series, I think it's gonna be hard. I think it's gonna be very, very hard to bring him into canon because there's nothing right now, right, that makes him part of the story officially. But I'm with you, Big John. Trust me. When it comes to which video game character I would love to see come in, Star Killer. Second place for me, because I'm old, is actually Kyle Katarn from the old Jedi Knight video games, even older than Force Unleashed. So I would love to see Kyle Katarn be brought back, but same, it's kind of hard at this point. My initial gripe with Cal Kestis was like, okay, why are we introducing a new Jedi, right? Because he didn't exist before these games. I'm like, he's a survivor of Order 66. He was a Padawan, right? And he went into hiding from the Empire. Who do we know that did exactly that? I was like, why isn't this a Caleb Doom slash um, Kanan Jarrus video game? Then, like, why are we using him? It's the same character, right?
Yep.
Um, which I don't know. I still think that was a valid argument. Don't get me wrong, Cal Kestis, they've done a good job, like we said, mainly because of his story through the games. But again, I still feel that I'm like, we kind of already had a Cal Kestis, right, from years prior. We didn't really know what happened to Kanan between him
Yep.
being a Padawan and him turning up with Hera, right, in Rebels, already grown man and part of the rebellion and all that. So there was plenty of time to tell those stories. Um,
They
but yeah,
definitely hit that storyline a few times.
yeah,
You even see it in the Obi-Wan series where that one Jedi
yeah,
shows up like, "Hey, you're Obi-Wan, aren't you?" He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Like that's another survivor of Order 66, and
Exactly.
obviously he made it for a while, so there's that
Yeah.
story. Cal again, so yeah, it's definitely been hit a few times, and I mean, I'm down to see all their stories unfold and see how they got from point A to point B, but I don't know if we'll ever get that type.
Yeah, exactly. And at some point, um, not everybody can make it, right? Because
Yeah,
otherwise, you end up having an army of Jedi by like Empire Strikes Back, or like by Return of the Jedi, right? And we're all thinking, okay, well, where were they, right? What were they not helping? What were they just chilling, right? Um,
yeah, Ahsoka, the
yeah,
hell.
exactly, right. Which is already still that's already a problem, right? In my opinion, that's already like, all right, so you got somebody that was trained by Anakin and she didn't participate. Like, what's going on? I'm sure it.
And not to give her any credit, but she was holding her own against
Oh yeah,
Vader, and even cracked his helmet the first time.
the first
So
time, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of her. She just needs to stay in the shadows.
Right, right.
Don't mess with Vader.
Right, absolutely. But I mean, when you add Ezra, into that equation, well, Ezra was
Yep.
gone by that point. That's fine. Um, but if Cal made it, if like Oprah and Sis's made it, like there's others, right? That I'm like, all right, we need to start trimming down here because not everybody can have survived, Order 66, like
Order
forever. I mean,
66 Part 2.
exactly, right. It's like at some point we kind of have to pull the plug here. I'm okay
Yep.
with them surviving a few years after because it makes sense, right? But when you put in like, all right, this was 20 years after or 30 years after, would they still be around? So yeah, again, you kind of have to question. But I think this is something that kind of should already happen. Again, we got the right actor. He's the right age. We know he's got the acting chops to pull it off. Why not? Why not bring him in? Into live action. So we'll see. I really do hope this happens. Cameron Monaghan does deserve, I think, the spotlight. So I really hope that it does kind of bear fruit. Um, okay, so I think we are getting here pretty close to wrapping up. We are just about an hour and a half. So, quick announcements. Oh, we got a possible stream on Monday, right? Next Monday. Um, if that doesn't happen, I think we're gonna have the high ground on Tuesday because Wednesday I'm gonna be running around trying to pack for ICCC because I know myself. I'm not gonna pack before that. Come on,
Yeah.
who am I? Like prepared? No. Um, so more than likely we will have well, I don't want to spoil it, but a guest, pretty cool guest, possibly here lined up in the bunker for Monday. TBD. We're working on it. We'll definitely let you know. But if that doesn't pan out, then we'll probably get back here on Tuesday, catch up with some of the news, catch up with some of the stuff for ICC, right? Like what are we expecting to see out there, guest, all of that stuff. And then, like I said, so but more than likely not next Wednesday, just because again I'm gonna be running around, getting ready for Thursday, seeing everybody out there in Nashville, Tennessee. Um, anything going on this weekend? Mm,
This weekend, I know I'm going to be in Austin. I've got a kiddo
oh,
performance for
nice.
her marching band stuff, so
Oh,
I'm going to
cool.
be busy out there. I'll try to hit up some local toy shops over there, maybe see if we can find
Yeah,
a nice item to grab. But if not, I'm doing that stuff, and then Sunday's probably just going to be a relaxing day.
sounds about right.
And then we'll see. I know San Antonio's always got something going on, so we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
I'm trying to think what's next or this weekend. So I forgot to say last weekend I actually did pop into the Alamo HeroCon to say hi to our friend Leilani.
Oh,
So she was
nice.
here, and I was gonna tell her to hang out, but she was actually taking a flight that same afternoon on Sunday.
Hmm.
She usually hangs out like 1 or 2 more days, here in the city, and then flies back. But it seems she had to get back. a little bit more of a hurry this time around. So there's a chance she might be back one more time this year. They're still working on it. So we'll see if we get to hang out with her if she does come back. But always great to see her. Great person, great good friend. And so it was cool catching up with her. She's she's actually gonna be at LA Comic Con uh, this weekend, and she's gonna be out there,
Nice.
with Ewan McGregor, Hayden. They got some big names out there too. So I can't wait for her to come back and tell us all about that. So it's gonna be pretty fun. But yeah, guys. So I think that is gonna do it for us. Like I said, we might see you on Monday. Please stay tuned on our social media, and you can find us on Instagram at the Dad Vader. Make sure that you are following him. Always great content. It constantly finding cool stuff and posting very funny stuff as well, and sharing quite a bit, from the community. So make sure that you're following Mike over at the Dad Vader. Also, since you're going to be on Instagram following him, might as well follow me as well too. General.kenobis.bunker. And I would appreciate it if you do, because we tend to post a little bit more on Instagram when we are expected to go live, when we're dropping a new video, all of that cool stuff. Also, please check us out on Facebook, General Kenobi's Bunker, on TikTok at General_Kenobis_Bunker, and finally on Threads, General.Kenobis.Bunker. Also, if you haven't, I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe here to the YouTube channel, hit that notification bell so that you know when we drop a new video, when we about to go live, when we make a community post. So let's keep in touch. Like I said, be on the lookout for next week's High Ground. It more than likely will not be on Wednesday. I can tell you that almost for sure, right? Monday, Tuesday, we're still working it out. But we're definitely going to see you back here. We're going to talk about ICC, see what we're expecting to see out there. And to everybody that is going to ICC, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram, and let's hang out there. I'm going to be there. I get there Thursday morning at like 10 in the morning. And then I'm going to fly out on Sunday, like a 10 at night. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Dang it. All right. So yeah, I'll basically be there for the full duration of the show, right? So my plan is to basically go all 4 days, right? That's really all my plan. So let's hang out. If you're there in the show, stop by, say hi. I would love to meet you in person. So with that, let me got one last comment here. Hello there, everyone. Says OBP. Appreciate you, brother. We are about to head out here, but thank you for coming in and saying hi. Appreciate you. So that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you again for hanging out here with us on this fine Wednesday night. Do not forget to also hit the like button on the stream. Let's tell that mythical YouTube algorithm that we are doing a good job. So have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. We will see you back here. I'll try to hang out this Saturday night again. It's been kind of cool to just turn on the camera and not really have a script and just hang out with the chat. So we might do that this weekend again. But yeah, thanks again for joining us here on another episode of The High Ground. We will see you next time.